Hey Roosters, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be continuing our review of the Heroes of Krakoa versus some 2PCG Ark. And we're moving on to the next box. Last time we covered the House of X starter box. We broke that into two parts. Today we're going to do the new Brotherhood box. And we're going to look through all the cards and tell you a quick review of what I think about them. Let's get into it. Taking a quick look at the box here, we can see it's the new Brotherhood. It's versus some 2BCG, obviously, and it's part of the Heroes of Krakoa Ark. Next, we'll take a look at the box. It has some links and some socials there. On the top, it just says the new Brotherhood, but on the side here, if we can get a chance to read it, it says Magneto has called for reinforcements from the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants to make your deck more powerful than ever. Different commands will unleash new abilities to make your opponents rue the day they ever cross paths with the new Brotherhood. Alright, let's get into the review proper. As usual, we're going to start this review by taking a look at the main characters. So, there's three main characters in this box, and all of them, by technicality, are new characters we haven't seen before. First one we're going to look at here today only gets off with a technicality, because really he's Magneto's clone. Magneto character we've seen multiple times. But because he's not technically the same person as Magneto, and the game especially does not recognize him as such, he doesn't have AKA or even Mantle, then he's a new character. So his name is Joseph, very menacing. He has the Brotherhood of Mutants team affiliation. Almost all cards in this box do, and so I'm not going to mention that again for really any of the cards. But he has 4 health, which is extremely low for a main character. He has 0 attack and 3 defense. Again, this is extremely low, and his only ability is his level up condition, Lost and Sick. Level up 3. At the end of each enemy turn, Joseph gains 1 XP. So obviously, this character is made to be weak here on the first level, made to be pathetically weak. But obviously he's going to probably level up into something amazing. There's not much to say about this first main character, other than the fact that the level up takes 3 turns and you have 4 health, which means probably by the time you level up, you'll have 3 wounds on you. But it's also important to know by the time you level up, you will not be dead. In fact, you probably can't be dead if I'm doing my math correctly in my head, because at the end of each of their turn, they'll have 3 turns to try to hurt you. At the end of each of them, gain XP. By your enemy's third turn, you level up to turn to your second level. So you probably will have 3 wounds on you with 3 defense, 0 attack, but you won't be dead, which is important. Now, there's quite a bit of text on his level 2 here. He has 6 health now, which is a lot more, but remember, you'll probably have 3 damage on you already, so you probably only have 3 health to really work with this second level. He has flight and range, which is good. He has stats are 6/6, which is about average for most level 2s. He has a bunch of key powers and superpowers and keyword powers. So his first one is magnetic suppression. Enemy supporting characters can't recover. We saw this on the very first Magneto supporting character in the base set. It's a really good ability because, simply put, until he's face down, unless he starts your turn face down, you're not going to recover your characters. Pretty much, if I understand the ability correctly. It's a very good ability. His second power here is a superpower, Master of Magnetism. You can spend a blue and KO all enemy equipment. I believe this superpower is new. I don't remember. Well, maybe we've seen it on the Magneto that came out in the Brotherhood of Mutants box proper. But that's pretty good. If your opponent happens to be playing any powerful equipment that's really giving you a hard time, you just KO them all. Not many decks play equipment, but it's still good to have it. He also has Mutant Supremacy. It's another superpower, but this time you pay a green during the main and KO a face down resource. This one's good. You can put your opponent behind a turn. At the point you play this character, your opponent will probably have some face down resources for you to KO, and you can put them behind a turn. He also has a keyword power, the future is now. Both Brotherhood Mutants and X-Men supporting character on your side have +4 attack and +0 defense. I know this ability came on the Magneto that came in, that has 3 levels, that came in the Brotherhood of Mutants set, the original one. It's a good ability. Obviously, you're just buffing your supporting characters, and you don't have to do anything to activate it. You're all your supporting characters, because you're probably playing a loyalty Brotherhood of Mutants decks, and maybe we'll have some X-Men in there as well. Will be just +4 attack, which is good. And then he has the final superpower, which is there's just what I want. During the main, you can pay a red, choose a face-up Brotherhood of Mutants or X-Men supporting character on your side, and then put +1/+1 counters equal to its attack on Joseph. Now, this is the same superpower that we saw on the newest Magneto that came out in the House of X. box. I have a video talking about that character there too. Very nice support superpower, and it's very useful, especially if you have a big supporting character in the field that you can really buff up Joseph with. Okay, that's pretty much his level 2. The only real downside to this level 2 is that you probably won't you'll be starting off with a disadvantage when using it because you'll most likely only have 3 health left. You have 6 wounds on this form. You probably would have taken 3 wounds from the last form. By the time you get to this level 2, you probably only have 3 wounds left to play with around with this character. But it is a very powerful level 2, and obviously your goal is to try to steal the game in these last couple turns or the last bit of time you'll have left playing with the main character. I know people will be trying this one out. I can't wait to see what it's capable of. Next, we have Mesmero. Now, we've seen Mesmero a couple times as a supporting character in the versus system, but this is his first main character card. He has 5 wounds, range, 6 defense, and 1 attack. These stats are all okay, they're all average. You'd see them. He has a superpower, Hypnotism. During the main, you can pay yellow, and each enemy character has lumbering on the next turn. If you don't know what lumbering is as it attacks, the defending player chooses the defender. So when your opponent attacks with that character who has lumbering, you, the defender, get to choose who they're attacking. It's actually a pretty decent ability. Sometimes it doesn't really work because you don't have really any good options that you want them to attack. But sometimes, and a lot of times, especially if you're going to be building a deck around this character, you're going to have some options in your deck that I want them to attack this guy if I get the chance to make that happen, and then I can roll from there. It's important. It's a really good defensive ability. It can pretty much always keep your main character away from dying, or any supporting character even that you don't want to die. I really like lumbering and the ability to give an opposing character lumbering. Okay, so now he has the level up condition lumber up. Level up 2 when the enemy character with lumbering attacks, Mesro gains 1 XP. Obviously, there are some characters who have inherent innate lumbering, but most of the time, this ability in this level up condition will only be coming from giving your opponent lumbering because obviously you can't count on your opponent having lumbering on their base cards already. But because it's only 2 XP, you can pretty much use this ability twice, and you'll most likely get it going. Though I'm pretty sure your opponent can still sort of mess with you here with this certain level up condition, because although you get to choose the defender when they attack lumbering, they don't have to attack with a character with lumbering, and if their character loses lumbering and only have it for the turn, they can pretty much just choose not to attack with that character, knowing that you need that XP to level up, and then in the end, you may never level up to level 2. But let's see what happens if you do. When you do get to level 2, you go up to 12 defense, which is really high. Most characters don't reach 12 defense, but the follow up for that, or rather the drawback to that, is that you only have 2 attack, which is pitifully low. In fact, some can consider it uselessly low. You do keep range, which means if you're in the back row, you can time and time again snipe off some weaker characters, or if you have other ranged characters in the back row, you can help them by team attacking. But you gain a new superpower, which is the most important thing here, memory tampering. During the main, you can pay a red, and you could choose an enemy character, and it loses and can't game teams for the rest of the game. If the teams are what they say teams, they mean team affiliations, such as Brotherhood of Mutants or X-Men or Fantastic Four or something like that, right? So you lose their team if they lose their team affiliation. This is important means that they can't team attack, and team attacking is a great way to gain more power to take down bigger opponents. You stop them from being able to team attack, you can essentially shut down some of their chances to get through some of your bigger supporting characters if you have them, or even yourself, because again, you have 12 defense. 12 is pretty high. Not everybody gets up to 12 attack on their own. Removing a character's ability to team attack could win you the game. Last main character is Zorn. Now, he has 6 wounds, 6 health, flight range, 5 defense, and 0 attack. He has a superpower Star in My Head. During the main phase, you can pay a blue and stun an enemy supporting character. This is pretty good. Just to be able to stun an enemy supporting character regardless of their stats, defense, or anything like that is pretty good. And you just have to pay a blue to do it. I really like this first superpower, but let's see what happens when he levels up. Starlight, Star Bright. Level up 1. At the end of your turn, you may discard 3 locations, and if you do, Zorn gains 1 XP. So as long as you have 3 locations, you can level up to Zorn level 2. And during his level 2, he gains some stats. He gains 4 he goes up to 4 attack and 8 defense, which is okay. It's pretty normal, I would suppose. I wouldn't say it's anything crazy. But he gains a new superpower. He loses the old one and gets something new. He gains a black hole in my head. During the main phase, you can pay a green. Disperse an enemy supporting character. Now, disperse is when the character loses its powers, then it gets removed from the game. The important thing, if it's losing its powers before it gets removed from the game, meaning that if it has a power that says its character can't be removed or anything like that, it loses that, and then you get rid of it. So obviously, this is a basically almost any character, any supporting character is gone when you hit them with disperse, and really there's nothing else they can do, no matter how much health they have, and no matter what ability they may have to stop this from happening. Now, this ability, you do have to pay a green to activate it, and it's not going to hurt your opponent's main character. But if they have a big Galactus, maybe, I'm pretty sure he can be affected by this. If they have a huge Dark Carnage Null or something like this, a huge, big supporting character on the field, that's sort of saying, well, guess what? I won the game. I hit my biggest guy. You're done for. Well, you can say no, and then it's just back to nothing. You get rid of their main. There's that supporting character that they were trying to use to push the victory, and if you have your own counter, huge dude, you play him on the field, and your opponent probably won't have an answer to him now. So I really like this superpower. I really like this main character. Can't wait to see him and be battle and try him out myself. Okay, so those were the main characters, but on to the supporting characters of the box. We have two. We have Vanisher, who we're going to take a look at first here. So he costs one, and he has one health. He has one defense, but he does have three attack. Now, when you have one cost characters, their stats are usually pretty low. If you see a three on their stats, it's what you would call high for a one cost. Not high, but for one cost, it's pretty good. He has range, which means you can put this guy in the back. You can start range attacking other weaker characters. And he has the superpower teleportation. During the main, you pay a red. You get the hide vanisher. Hiding is when you put them face down, except they just don't take a wound, they don't take any damage, and then they flip face up at the beginning of your next turn. So if you're afraid this guy's gonna die, you can hide him. The reason why this character is so underwhelming is because I can't find a real reason that you'd want to keep him alive. Of course, you can team attack with him. If you're using if you're using a main character with range, you can have them both in the back, adding 3 to the attack through a team attack. That's a decent thing you can do with him, but I don't see that you would spend a red on him just to save him for one extra turn. Though it is important that you can actually hide him, as far as I can tell, even if you attack, so you can attack and then hide him. So that's an important thing. But on to the next one called supporting character, we have a Mesmero supporting character. And he has 3 defense, 1 attack ranged, so it's the opposite of Vanisher, still 1 health, but he has the same hypnotism superpower that the main character Mesmero had. It's a nice little superpower. I liked it on the main character, and I like it on the supporting character as well. For the two core supporting characters, we have technically two different kinds, but one of them, just like the Multiple Man and the X-Men on the House of X box, one of them has multiple different forms, but it's pretty much all the same characters, so we'll try to run through them all pretty quickly. We'll start off with Blind Spot. Now, Blind Spot is a two-core supporting character. Obviously, she has that's 1/1, which is pretty low, but it's an early game character. And she has the Memory Gift keyword power. When Blind Spot appears, put a random card from your KO pile into your hand, and she's wealthy as well. At the start of your build phase, you can gain a recruitment point. So obviously, when she comes in, you're usually playing her for the memory gift ability, especially when she comes in. You get to get a random card from your KO pile, and depending on the deck you're playing, this can be really important. But also, she sticks around for the wealthy. Now, if your opponent isn't careful, they can end up having you gain more and more recruitment points across the turn. So now this character becomes a problem they have to deal with, or else you're going to get a significant lead in the game. So I really like this supporting character, especially because she's cheap, early game, wealthy, as well as this little memory gift ability. Okay, all the destinies are pretty much similar, so we're gonna run through them pretty fast. They all have 2/2 stat line, 2 attack, 2 defense. They all have one of a kind, but there's 4 different kinds of them. And normally you can play 4 different copies of a card. So them each being one of a kind means if you play one of each of them, you'll have basically as if it was one card. Is the basic gist here. Now they all have this 3 volumes of prediction keyword power, except they all do slightly different things. 12 volumes of predictions. So the first one we're gonna look at here, when Destiny appears, name a supporting character, then reveal the top 12 cards of your deck. Put one supporting character with the name into your hand, and then shuffle the rest of the cards back in your deck. Great, love this superpower, love this keyword power. Comes in on play. You get to activate it instantly. You get to search for out of the top 12 cards of your deck. You get to search for any one supporting character you want. I can see this card seeing play, and I can see this with all the Destiny cards seeing play in decks that aren't even Brotherhood of Mutants or even X-Men decks. I can see this seeing play in a lot of other decks as well because of how cool the superpower is, and a lot of characters and main characters focus on a singular super supporting character to make their deck work. Then there's the other one has 12 items of prediction still, but this one searches out a plot twist, same thing, top 12 cards, put the plot twist in your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck. There's also one for locations. You get a location you want. This one's pretty important, especially with decks that are really heavily focused on one superpower. You may really need to really keep getting the locations if you can. This one's important. And then finally, there's the one that searches out equipment. And there's aren't obviously many decks that use equipment or really focus on equipment, but if you do, if you have the type of deck, this is obviously important. I like all these Destiny cards. I really think they are going to be useful in many different kinds of decks, even outside of the current team affiliation that they're using. But of course, we'll just have to wait and see how useful it really is. Okay, on to the three call supporting characters. We have Lorelei. She has 1 health, 3 attack, 5 defense, range. She has a keyword power called Siren Song. Enemy characters with man in their name can attack. This is very situational, depending on who you're playing against. If you're playing against Spider Man, main character Iron Man, but in most cases, since most characters really don't have the word man in their name, I really don't think this ability is going to be too prevalent. It depends on who you're playing against, and it depends on who's really good at the moment. If there happens to be someone with man in their name, it's funny, but it's not really useful in my opinion. And then we have Sauron. Sauron has 1 health, 4 attack, 1 defense, flight, and range. He has the life steal keyword power. When he appears, you get +1/+1 characters on him for each enemy character. Now, in most cases, you're gonna get 2 or 3, maybe 4 +1/+1 counters on him, and then that's pretty good on its own. I really like that ability for that. But I think it's also really funny that some decks that are playing Swarm, really wide Sentinels, maybe anything like that, where there's a bunch of characters on the field. It'd be pretty cool to see him get super huge throughout using this ability to life steal all that power. I really like Sauron. I think Lorelei is kind of thematic. For the 4 cost, we have Mastermind. He is a 1 health, 6 attack, 5 defense character with range. He has Reveal Illusion. During the build phase, you can pay a blue, a KO supporting character on your side, and then put a either Brotherhood of Mutants or X-Men character from with a cost less than or equal to the number of resources on your side from your hand onto your side. Okay, so basically you get to KO one of your supporting characters, and it doesn't matter which. The cost of the supporting character you KO doesn't matter. And then you get to put a character basically for free equal to the amount of resources you currently have. I really like this ability. If you can KO 1 cost, as far as I understand, you can just throw that 1 cost out of here. If you're on turn 5, because you say you can only play this guy turn 4, if you're on say turn 5 or even turn 4, then you can then just pay a blue and get another supporting character on the field that costs that amount. I really like this superpower, and I'm pretty sure it's going to see a decent amount of play. If not, I think it's really cool. The other supporting character we get is Eunice. He has 2 defense and 12 attack. He has 2 health, and he has the superpower You Repulse Me. During the combat, you can pay a green, and Eunice can't be struck this combat. So obviously, he's a really big aggressive character who can deal a lot of damage, but he's really weak on the comeback on the back around because you can easily hit him back or hit him during your turn. So the superpower kind of protects him. I think he's pretty cool just because he has 12 attack for 4 stats. You can play him down, hit him for 12. I don't think in most cases you'll be using his repulse ability unless you realize that he's a key victory point for you. He also has 2 health, so you can let him take a hit and then he can come back for another 12 before you let him die. That's what I think what he's gonna be mostly useful for. We only have one 5 cost in this box, and it's Magma. She's 1 health, 4 attack, 10 attack, 4 defense, range, too hot to handle. Enemy characters lose and can't gain powers when while in range combat with Magma. This is good because it says powers, not just superpowers and not just keyword powers, but all of them. Now, it's important to remember that ranged is a keyword power, although they print it on the card. That being said, when she range attacks someone, even if they have range, they can't attack her back, which basically means that as long as she's in the ranged area, she's in the back row, she can really dish out a lot of damage for 10 attack. Though she still only has 4 defense and 1 health, which means any character who can fly over to your back row can usually just take her out, even if they're going to be taking a hit in return. The character's cool. I think it's pretty interesting. You can dish out pretty aggressive character, though I think in most cases she might end up dying faster than the user would like, especially because she's their turn 4 drop. For our 1/6 cost card in the box, we have Joseph. He has 8 stats, 1 health, but he has his cool superpower, Send in the Clone. Joseph has the keyword powers and superpowers that face up Magneto characters on your side. So obviously you won't be playing him in a Magneto deck if you play him at all, and then he can get whatever superpower your Magneto has. But also if you're not playing a Magneto deck and you have a different Magneto supporting character on the field, then you can obviously play him and he'll get those powers as well. I don't know how well this is gonna end up turning out because he only has 1 health, but it is pretty cool to just copy the abilities of face up Magneto characters on your side. I really like Joseph thematic wise, especially here as the supporting character. Okay, so Zorn's our only 7 cost card in the box, and he has 2 health, 11 attack, 9 defense, flight ranged, and he has this cool keyboard power, Sun in My Head. When Zorn appears, you can heal a wound from a supporting character on your side. If you have any supporting character with a lot of health, or even really just 1 wound on them, so anyone with 2 health or more, you can heal that wound off. And if they're really an important supporting character to your deck, or even really just a powerful one that you want to keep around for a little bit longer, this obviously is a good ability there, but he has a second ability. He has a black hole in my head. This is a superpower, and it is the one I believe from the main character. You pay a green and disperse an enemy supporting character. As a 7 cost, I like it more on the main character than I like it here, but I still think it's a good ability. You just get rid of an enemy supporting character, and you can also, when you play this guy, heal one of your own supporting characters. I like Soren. There's only 2 plot twists in this box. And so let's take a look at the first one, which is a nightmare made real. Now, this is mutant loyalty. That means you can only play it if you only have Brotherhood of Mutant and or X-Men characters in your deck, X-Men cards in your deck. But it's still important to note that it is a Brotherhood of Mutants plot twist, which means you still have to have at least one Brotherhood of Mutant card on the field to play it. Now, it's one of kind. You can only have one of it in your deck, and it basically says during the main phase, attackers strike with double their attack until the end of your turn. So this turn, characters just get stronger. They get double their attack. They get to swing in harder and faster. And I like this keyword. I like this plot twist, especially if you're playing an aggressive Brotherhood of Mutant deck. You can come in hard. You can swing fast, and then although it's one of a kind, you only have one copy of it in your deck. When you do get to play it, I really think it can possibly turn the tide of the game. I like this one. Now, for our second plot twist in this box, we have Homo Superior. Now, it just during the main phase, you could choose a row on your side, then put a +1/+1 counter on each character in that row. It's not exactly amazing, it's not blowing my socks off, but the fact that you can theoretically have all your characters in one row, give them all a +1/+1 counter, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. I still don't think it's going to be making its way into mini decks, though it is a cool card. Well, there's my quick but not so quick review of the new Brotherhood's box. There's a lot of cards to go through, a lot of cards we talked about, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more versus system content, don't worry, we'll have more on the way. And if you're looking for other cards, kinds of content, still stick around because we're going to be doing a little bit more of that as well. I'll see you next time.